Through his acts of valor both as a chaplain and a prisoner during the Korean War, Father Emil Kapaun took a stand by speaking out against his captors and saving many lives among his fellow soldiers, thereby inspiring hope in a hopeless situation.
In fact, from human experience, we know that to accomplish anything good, a person must make an effort, and making an effort is putting up a fight against the obstacles.
Father Emil was born to Enos and Bessie Kapaun on April 20th, 1916, in the small town of Pilsen, Kansas. He grew up helping his father on the farm, attending school, and going to church, where he found his calling. As a child, Kapaun built a makeshift altar in his family's front room and began to play priest. His parents described him as quiet yet humorous with an inviting smile. At the age of 6, on September 5, 1922, Emil began school at the Pilsen District 115, where he completed 8 primary grades within 6 years. In September of 1930, he moved to Conception, Missouri, where he finished high school and attended college. While participating in many sports, he always remained at the top of his class academically. During all of Kapaun's schooling, he tried to keep his piety hidden, but still followed the daily Mass and Communion, visited the Blessed Sacrament, said the stations, and recited the Rosary. The advice he chose to live by was,
Pray hard, receive the sacraments frequently, and above all, give good example.
Then, in 1936, Kapaun entered Kenrick Theological Seminary in St. Louis to study priesthood. While he was away, he sent letters and remained close to his family and friends. Then, in 1940, after all of Kapaun's hard work, he was ordained a priest by the Diocese of Wichita. He began to show interest in military service when he was appointed auxiliary chaplain at the air base in Harrington, Kansas. 4 years later, Father Kapaun became a chaplain for the United States Army fighting in World War II. There, he was sent to India and Burma to help support troops. In June 1946, Kapaun separated from active services and returned back to the United States, where he continued as a pastor. But shortly after, in 1948, he re-enlisted into the Army and returned to what he believed was more important work.
I've grown to love these people very much, but, in conscience, I believe I should offer myself for work in the armed forces, especially in this crisis.
After re-enlisting, Emil Kapaun boarded a ship and sailed to Japan to prepare for the ongoing war in Korea. He said in a letter to his parents,
Everything is peaceful around here. It hardly seems like war. The fighting is taking place about 600 miles from where we are.
However, not even a week after, Father Kapaun and his troops were on their way to South Korea to help protect them from the invading North Koreans. On November 2, 1950, his unit was overrun by Chinese forces. The American soldiers were captured and forced to march 60 miles to prison camp number 5. Throughout this horrible time, Father Kapaun's faith and actions continued to keep all of the soldiers going. As a priest, he refrained from using weapons, but instead took a stand to fight the war in another way. Kapaun, remaining a conscientious objector, endlessly risked his own life to save the lives of his fellow soldiers. He ran out into the front lines and pulled wounded soldiers back to safety, where they could be then aided to. He would also steal food, medication, and clothing for the men. This is how he acquired the nickname, the Good Thief. In this time of need, Father Kapaun held masses for the soldiers. He taught them how to keep their faith and remain hopeful. On Easter, he held a mass for all of the men to come together regardless of their religion, in an attempt to show them that God was still there among them. Observing that Father Kapaun was a very selfless and strong man who would never refrain from taking a stand to help aid others, the Chinese guards felt threatened by him. They would taunt him by asking where his God was and why he was not helping them, but Kapaun would never falter. With his fellow prisoners of war, they ended up being forced to stay for 7 months in the prison camp. Later, in 1951, Father Emil began to limp. His captors discovered that he had a blood clot in his leg, which caused it to become painfully swollen from the knee down. Although he remained in that condition for 6 weeks, he continued to be cheerful and do everything he could to help others. However, around the end of May, Father Kapaun developed dysentery and slight pneumonia in his lungs. These issues, coupled along with the blood clot, caused him to become very ill. As soon as his captors found out about his illness, they sent him to the prison hospital where everyone knew he was guaranteed to die. But even while fighting his illness, he encouraged the other men in the camp to continue praying, to hold secret masses, and to hope for the best. It was here in Pyeongtaek, Korea, that he would not receive any treatment and tragically die alone on May 6, 1951. Bishop William Arnold wrote,
Father Kapaun's body lies in a common, unmarked grave somewhere near the hospital, where his valiant and saintly soul met divine Commander-in-Chief in eternal embrace.
During his time in Korea, Father Kapaun took a stand to save many soldiers from death. He physically dragged soldiers out of harm's way and mentally gave the men hope to continue living during this difficult time. Kapaun also encouraged determination within the soldiers to finish the war. A Korean correspondent for the Associated Press sent the following dispatch to the United States.
No task seemed impossible to him, and he never got disturbed about the amount of work that was always his. His constant cheerfulness reflected his inner piety and devotion.
2 years after Kapaun's death, the Korean War ended with an armistice that divided the nation at the 38th parallel. Kapaun's death also strongly affected his family's life. Emil's nephew, Ray Kapaun, was interviewed after reading one of his uncle's last letters and said,
"It's really kind of sad in a lot of ways because I really think Father Emil knew he wasn't coming back from this, even when he first went in. I know Dad talked about that a little bit, of how he felt the same thing, that Father Emil was pretty sure he wasn't going to be coming back from this war. And when you read this, you almost get the indication that you realize he knew how tough it was going to be. He knew how hard it was going to be. And basically he knew he was going to have to give his life if he was going to help anybody else, because that was his job, was to help others. It was to help others and save others' lives. So to read something that would have been the last letter to my parents is really, really moving.
Today, Father Emil Kapaun is still remembered by the many people and families that he positively affected throughout his lifetime. Many practicing Catholics still pray to Father Kapaun for help within their daily lives. There are said to be at least 3 known miracles that are credited to Kapaun, which is needed to be considered a saint in the Catholic Church. Many people continue to fight for him, while the Vatican considers his sainthood. On April 11, 2013, President Barack Obama presented the Medal of Honor to Ray Kapaun on behalf of his uncle, Emil, who is the 9th American Military Chaplain Medal of Honor recipient.
Chaplain Kapaun's extraordinary heroism and selflessness, above and beyond the call of duty, are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon himself, the 3rd Battalion, 8th Cavalry Regiment, the 1st Cavalry Division, and the United States Army.
Furthermore, Father Emil Kapaun has at least 12 separate memorial sites dedicated to him for people to visit. This includes sites in Wichita, Kansas, Pilsen, Kansas, Overland Park, Kansas, and many other sites in South Korea, Japan, and Hawaii. The shepherd in combat boots story lives on as people continue to pray to him. Father Emil Kapaun was declared a servant of God in 1993 and is still being looked at by the Catholic Church to become a saint. The impacts of Father Kapaun's actions are numerous and immeasurable. Father Emil Kapaun took a stand by aiding his fellow prisoners during the Korean War and speaking out against his captors, thereby inspiring hope in a hopeless situation.
If we fail to forgive, we are rejecting our own faith.